Hello and welcome to the show. It is a beautiful 82 degrees outside on this Sunday afternoon, and we are heading from Willis, Texas, just north of Conroe, up to Aubrey, Texas. It looks like we've got, let's see here, about, like 6 hours. It's going to take a while to get there. So we should get some good video. We'll see how it goes. We are in a 2023 Tesla Model X running FSD 13.2.8. Should be fun. We'll have a good time, mostly highway driving. I'll make some comments along the way. And of course, we might have a friendly conversation or two with our good friend, Grok. And without further ado, let's get this party started. We'll get the We'll get the ride started. We'll get the ride started today with some unmarked roads. The posted speed limit here is 25 miles per hour, and you can see that Tess is just chill. We're riding in at 16 miles an hour right now, which is extremely cautious in my opinion. Just a little jerk in the wheel there, maybe some hesitation. So an interesting observation, most of my FSD driving has been in and around the Dallas area. And it's amazing. Very few interactions, smooth transitions. It handles just about everything almost perfectly. But this weekend, driving in and around the Houston area, Conroe, Willis, we went down to Texas City, the car hesitated significantly more and made far more mistakes than it ever has in the Dallas area. And that's incredibly interesting to me. I can think of a couple of examples. When we just took that turn right behind us there, you saw that there was a little hesitation in the wheel in the middle of the turn. It's very cautious back here. If you watch my YouTube videos, you know that I did one of a backcountry road up in the Aubrey area, and it cruised that a lot better than it does down here. But a couple of situations that occurred was in my brother's neighborhood, there is a turnabout, a roundabout. So here on the map, you would see the roundabout. And interestingly, navigation took it the wrong way. So it came into the roundabout and took it left rather than following the roundabout around. So when the car came up to the roundabout, it threw its left turn signal on and wanted to go left in the roundabout, which is not correct. But once it got closer, it recognized that it was a roundabout and handled it correctly. It went into it and went around to the right. Later that night, when it was dark out, the same thing occurred, except when it got to the roundabout, it was not able to determine that it was a roundabout, and it actually went left in the roundabout. Now, this is a small roundabout in a neighborhood. It was late. There was no other traffic, so I just let it do it. But that was absolutely, in my opinion, a critical intervention. Another thing that happened was in the same area, Highway 105, there is a stoplight in which we were taking a left-hand turn at. And coming up to the stoplight, you merge left into the turning lane in order to turn left at the stoplight. And in the middle of 105 in this particular stretch, there are the concrete median dividers. And right before that turn, there is another left-hand turn and then an obstruction, a concrete median obstruction, which even when I'm driving it, I won't say confuses me, but it's silly. Like, you feel like that's the one you need to get into, but if you do, you're going to run into the concrete median. So if you're familiar with the area, you know not to take that first one. You wait for the second one. So during the day, so it just swerved left for an unknown reason. Maybe it saw a shadow, but it just kind of supports what I'm saying. In this area, the Houston, Conroe, Willis area, the car makes more mistakes than it does in Dallas. It's more hesitant. In fact, I was down here a few weeks ago, about a month, and I was in a Model Y, and I was showing it to my brother for the first time, and it made some horrible mistakes. So it's weird. I would definitely say that FSD in Dallas is completely different than FSD in Houston. And there's actually a YouTuber in the Houston area, JC. I watch a lot of his videos, and I don't see his car having those problems in the Houston area. But when I'm in Houston in my Tesla, it's a lot more hesitant. It makes a lot more mistakes. But anyway, back to the story. So we were coming up on the left-hand turn, and the Tesla made the mistake of taking that first turn lane, but it recognized the concrete barrier up ahead, so it navigated back out of that. But then it felt like it was scared because it did not take the next left correctly. I had to intervene there to get it to go into the lane. So it's a lot more hesitant here, which I find interesting. I don't know if anybody else has that kind of experience, FSD behaving differently in different areas, but it is a lot more hesitant here than my experience with it in Dallas. All right, so here we're getting up on I-45, and we will be here for a while. We've got a good long drive ahead of us. We are 56 minutes away from our first supercharging stop. We will have 9% battery left when we get there, and we are starting off with 116 miles remaining, which should be plenty for us to pull in there and get a little charge. The original route on this trip had just one supercharger stop, and I would have arrived home with 10% battery. But the lovely wife and I have plans just about when I get home, so I won't have time to get a good charge at the house. So I'm going to make another stop in the Dallas area to top it off so that we can use tests on our excursions this evening. We are in hurry mode, and I've got it as fast as it will go. Currently cruising at 79 and a 65, and I imagine we'll see her get up to 80, 85 here shortly, which is a comfortable speed for me. there is a place in Centerville called Woody's, which is where the Supercharger is. And I did not know they were there. The wife and I like to stop at Woody's when we're traveling between Houston and Dallas. And I have looked for them before, and I never noticed them. But on the way down, I stopped there for the first time and let the Tesla navigate me to where they are. And they're hidden back behind Woody's. There's a whole row of them there. Buc-ee's is also an option, which is about 20 miles closer to us, coming out of Houston. But I think I'll stop at Woody's. Maybe get an energy drink or a coffee. When I pulled into my dad's place, I decided to raise the suspension, the ride height, on the Tesla because it looked like it would be a good idea. And then it got me kind of thinking about the different ride heights, whether or not there's a default ride height. How does the different settings impact the different heights? What are the most optimal settings for the different scenarios that you're driving in? And so let's pull that up and ask our friend Grok about it. So if you go to suspension, you're going to see these options here. So you have ride height, and then you have adaptive suspension dampening. Now in full self-driving, we have use comfort dampening and autopilot selected, and we have our ride height set to low. And I don't know. I haven't experimented with this at all. Usually I just do full self-driving. Yesterday I let my brother drive, and that was the first time I've actually experienced this car north of 100 miles per hour. Disclaimer, I drive at your own risk. That's all I can say. I don't recommend that you drive fast just because we did. But in any case, he'd mentioned that at a certain speed, the front end began to feel a little light. And so it made me wonder about these different settings. So if you have it in auto, what actually happens to the suspension? If you change the ride height, is there any correlation between the ride height setting and these suspension settings here? I don't know the answer, and I'm curious about it. So one thing that we might do is we might pull up our friend Grok. Try not to upset the car by messing with my phone down here. Hey, Grok.
Hey there. What's up? Ready to dive into whatever you're curious about today?
I am. So we are cruising down the highway in my 2023 Tesla Model X all-wheel drive, and I have some questions about ride height settings, adaptive suspension dampening, and the correlation or impacts between those settings and one another, and whether or not there are recommended settings. So let's dive in.
All right, let's roll with your 2023 Tesla Model X questions while we're cruising down the highway. The Model X has a slick adaptive air suspension system. So let's break it down. Ride height settings let you adjust how high or low the car sits. You've got low, medium, and high options, which you can tweak via the touchscreen under Controls, Suspension. Low is great for highway efficiency, better aerodynamics, less drag. Medium is the all-purpose setting, balancing comfort and clearance. High is your go-to for rough terrain, steep driveways, or deep snow, giving extra ground clearance. The car might auto-adjust height based on road conditions or GPS, like raising up for a bumpy road it remembers. Adaptive suspension dampening controls how soft or firm the ride feels, with modes like Comfort, Auto, and Sport. Comfort softens things up, soaking up bumps for a cushy ride. Auto adapts damping in real time, reading the road to blend smoothness and stability. Sport tightens it up for sharper handling but feels firmer over bumps. Now, how do these settings play together? Ride height and damping don't directly control each other, but they impact the vibe. For example, setting the height to low with sport damping makes the car feel sporty and planted, but might be harsh on rough roads. High ride height with comfort damping is plush and great for uneven terrain, but can feel floaty at high speeds. Auto damping pairs well with any height since it adjusts on the fly, keeping things versatile. Recommended settings depend on your drive. On this highway cruise, I'd suggest medium height with auto damping, efficient enough for smooth sailing, but ready to handle any surprises in the road. If you're prioritizing comfort, go comfort damping with medium or high height. For twisty back roads later, try low with sport for that glued to the road feel. Anything specific about the drive you're curious about? Want tips for tweaking it further?
Yeah, so I actually noticed that I have a couple of settings that are different than what you said. So for ride height, I have very high, high, medium, low, and very low. And then for adaptive suspension dampening, I have comfort, auto, sport, and advanced.
Got it. Thanks for the heads up. Looks like your 2023 Model X has the full range of options, so let's dive into those specific settings. For ride height, you've got very high, high, medium, low, and very low. Very high maxes out ground clearance, perfect for tackling steep ramps or serious off-road stuff, but it auto lowers after about 100 feet or if you hit 15 miles per hour to avoid vibrations. High is still great for rough roads or speed bumps, dropping back to medium or low at around 35 miles per hour. Medium strikes a balance for most driving, blending comfort and efficiency. Low optimizes range and handling on smooth highways, while very low's the sleekest for max aerodynamics, though it's super close to the ground, so save it for pristine roads. For adaptive suspension damping, you've got comfort, auto, sport, and advanced, sure. Comfort keeps things soft and cushy, ideal for soaking up bumps. Auto dynamically adjusts to the road and your driving style, aiming for a smooth yet controlled ride. Sport firms up for responsive handling, giving you that sporty connected feel, but it can be stiff over imperfections. Advanced lets you fine-tune by tweaking sliders for ride comfort and handling. Think of it as a custom mode to dial in exactly what you want, like softer for comfort or tighter for precision. The interplay here is all about feel and function. Pairing very high or high with comfort damping gives a floaty, plush ride, great for uneven terrain but less stable at high speeds. Medium with auto is a versatile combo, adapting to highway cruising or city streets on the fly. Low or very low with sport or advanced, tuned firm, feels aggressive and planted. Awesome for spirited drives but jarring on rough patches. Since you're on the highway, medium with auto or comfort would likely feel great. Smooth, efficient, and ready for surprises. If you want to play with advanced, you could nudge the handling slider up a bit for tighter control without sacrificing too much comfort. Any vibe you're aiming for on this drive? Or want me to dig deeper into one of these combos?
Yeah, no, I'm just chilling. So you said that if it's in very high or high, it'll automatically adjust back to medium when we exceed, 35 miles per hour?
Yep, you're just chillin'. I love that vibe. Exactly. If you're in high, the Model X will auto drop to medium once you go over about 35 miles per hour to keep things stable and efficient. For very high, it's even stricter. It'll lower after roughly 100 feet, or if you hit around 15 miles per hour, usually stepping down to high or medium depending on conditions. Keeps the ride smooth and saves you from cruising too tall for too long. Want me to play around with any other settings ideas for your highway groove?
No, I'm good for now, thanks.
Cool, glad you're all set. Enjoy the cruise, and I'm here if you want to tweak anything later.
So Grok's great. I guess I should have asked if I guess you can't. How about that? You can't change it while in drive. Guess that makes sense. So I have been riding around medium this entire time, and right now, as you saw, we're in low, and it feels fine to me. As a matter of fact, might feel more comfortable. But we'll put it at medium when we stop for a charge and see if there's a noticeable difference. So there's a pretty decent sized tire tread. What is that, a Wagoneer? The Wagoneer in front of me swerved around it. The Tesla didn't move at all. Now, there's two things there. One, maybe it determined that it didn't need to, so it didn't. And two, it didn't see it, which is a thing that I have noticed. Pothole avoidance is not a thing. It will hit them. And objects in the road, like the tire tread, didn't seem to want to maneuver around that. On my way down yesterday from Dallas, there was a trash bag in the road, and it didn't look like it was going to move around it either. I intervened and moved around it, but to be fair, I was being extra cautious. I didn't give it a chance to pick it up and move around it. It's probably an experiment that I'm a little cautious about. I really don't want to find out that it will hit something. That would be an unfortunate situation. So I do have somebody kind of bumping up on me here. In the rear view mirror, they look quite a bit closer than they do in this view. And I've mentioned this before, if it makes sense, the Tesla will move out of the way of faster moving traffic. It won't do it if traffic on the right is moving slower than we are. But this is a situation where I feel like the Tesla should have gotten over, and it didn't. But I have seen it do it many times. Dodge Ram 1500. I used to have one of those. I've had a few cars. My wife and I got married in 2021, and since that time, I've had a few. So when we got married, I had a 2027 F-150 with a 6-inch lift, 35-inch tires, V6 EcoBoost, and I liked it quite a lot. Sold it, and what did I get next? Was it the 2021 Dodge Ram 1500 Laramie? Beautiful truck. Sold it. And then I bought I don't remember the year, Jeep Wrangler, 4-door, hardtop, carbonized gray, newer model car. Hated it. No offense, Jeep. I'm 6 feet tall. I felt very closed in. Just wasn't, I like to stretch out. And so the Jeep wasn't a good fit for me. It was really cool, being able to take off the hard top and the doors. It also had 35-inch wheels on it, or tires. Loved going to the beach in it, but just a little too small for me on the interior. Sold it. Bought a 2022 F250 6.7 liter turbo diesel Lariat. Loved it. We pulled, we still have it, a 2020 Heartland Fuel 287 toy hauler. We have that with a place up near Dallas called Double S Rentals, where they rent it out for us. Then I bought a 2022 Forest River Prime Time Crusader. This is a fifth wheel, 36 foot fifth wheel. Love it. Bought a 2024 F350 Trimmer 7.3 liter Godzilla engine Lariat to pull that fifth wheel around in. Love it. So I sold the F250, bought the F350, and we rode around in that fifth wheel for a couple of years. Did a lot of camping, primarily in the Texas area. Took it up to Kansas City once or twice. Took it down to the beach, the Galveston area, and decided that we'd had enough of the camping life. So we sent that camper out to a place called Escape RV near Orlando, Florida, where they rent it out to Disney World. So if you're ever in the Disney World area looking for lodging and you can't find your swanky hotel, you can hop in our fifth wheel out there, which would be a wonderful stay. And so once the campers were kind of out of the picture and we decided that we'd rather spend our time and money doing other things like going on cruises or traveling to different places, I realized that I didn't have a strong need for this big F350. which again was a beautiful truck. The trimmer comes from the factory with the 2-inch lift, and we had it on 20-inch wheels with 35-inch tires, so it was also quite large and primarily just sat there. When I do need to, I go to the office a couple of days a week in Irving, Texas. So anytime I needed to go to the city for any reason, I would just take my wife's Audi, because driving the truck in city environments is not the funnest thing in the world. So I decided to sell it, and that brings us to where we are today. And this beautiful specimen of an automobile. This one I do plan to keep for at least 3 years, maybe longer. I know that at some point I will get a new car, because I know me. I also know that it will be a Tesla. And I don't know which one yet. Either the S or the Cybertruck, I imagine. So we're cruising at 79, and I feel like the truck behind me is telling me that he would like me to move over. But if you look ahead here, you'll see that we're coming up on some slow-moving traffic. So in this situation, the Tesla would not move over, because it's not going to put us out so that somebody else can drive faster. But if it can get over without slowing us down, usually it will do that. It will move out of the way. Maybe not as fast as some of the people driving behind me would like, but it will do it. I'd say he's 2 to 3 car lengths behind, so maybe the Tesla doesn't think he's being aggressive enough to warrant the lane change. I don't feel terrible for him. So we are driving 83, which is quite fast. It's fast enough. Not for everybody, I know. Okay, so there. Yes, cool, he did it. So the Tesla found a clearing, decided, hey, I can get over without interfering with my plans. So it politely moves out of the way for the faster moving traffic. We are about 18 miles away from our stop in Centerville, where we'll be charging up. I'll probably run into Woody's there and get a couple of more chargers for the devices that I've got plugged in here. We've got the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, and then we've got the Ceramonic mic and Ceramonic wireless or Bluetooth mic for that piece. So I want to make sure that we keep the charge for the trip today. I'm not sure if the camera will last the entire trip. I can take the battery out of it and power it off of USB-C, but what I discovered was that when I do that, the camera doesn't pick up the external mic, the Ceramonic mic. And my guess is that I don't have enough power going to it for that to work correctly. So I'll need to solve for that another time. I don't plan on making videos that are 3-4 hours very regularly. I like them to be 30 minutes to an hour, which is my typical drive. And now that I'm time stamping all of my videos, that's helpful for you, I think, because you can just look through that and see if there's a thing in there that's interesting. It's fun. I try to find the right balance. I think at some point, because Tesla Truths is a brand new channel. We have 23 subscribers. Thank you, 23. But I'm not getting a lot of feedback on what's working and what's not working. So once that starts rolling in a bit, I'll start tweaking the channel based on that feedback. Like, do you like the camera view? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I find it distracting, and I like the tranquility of the map. That's probably a strong word. It's not that tranquil, but I like the calmer experience of just the map. But if this is something that you like to see on these drives, then I'll leave it up. What about the camera position? Can you see the pedals okay? Is the picture nice and stable? How's the road noise? So once I start getting feedback, do you like the conversations with Grok? What questions and conversations do you want to see and hear with Grok while on our FSD drives? So I will take that feedback in and make adjustments to continue to fine-tune this experience. I used to love to watch the FSD videos before I bought a Tesla. I was just fascinated with what it could do. And there's a couple of them out there. Black Tesla is a great one. He's very, very technical. His videos are very focused on the latest kind of FSD release, the specific things it addresses, what it does well, what it doesn't do well. I try to do that some, but for me personally, I tend to have a bit more fun with just my random nonsense. I just like to have random conversations. I like to talk about what the car does and does not do, but I'll go off on other topics too. And I've seen a couple of other guys do that. They'll just talk about random things. And if you just want to watch the video and not listen to me ramble on, you can just turn the sound off, right? So that's the benefit. Fast forward it however you like if it's too long. But the timestamps will help you get to very specific information. Like in this one, I'm excited to see how that turns out with the conversation around the suspension settings that we had with Grok. That was super cool. And now when I have a question, I can just ask it and you get the answer too. So that's super fun. And I'm still learning about the different things in this car. I imagine there's a lot of things that I do not know. I'm really looking forward to the turn signal view being up here on the dash. I was talking to my wife about it. When the turn signal comes up, I guess I was so used to the 3 and the Y because they don't have this driver display here, this driver cluster. The turn signal video will come up here and you will see the turn signal indicator as well. So in one shot, you can see immediately the view and the direction it's going in. Which is helpful. So in the X, when it comes up over here, the turn signal indicator is over here. So when I look at it, the first thing my brain tries to figure out is which direction are we going in? And I know that sounds silly. Like, we're in this lane here. If the turn signal comes on, the obvious answer is, well, we're going to the right. But I guess for me, it's just this connection in my head that I want to be true. Like, I want to mentally verify it so that if I have to intervene for whatever reason, I know what the car intends to do. And my wife pointed out, and I'll just show you, when you turn it on, you can see the edge of the car here, while over here it's wide open. And so you should be able to pretty quickly deduce that it's turning to the right. And I agree with her, but it still takes my brain a minute to solve for that. And maybe because, I'm getting old, my brain doesn't work as good as it used to, but you can see the very edge of the car, and so it should be pretty immediately aware. But I guess the visual cue in my brain that I've been programmed to look for my entire life are the little green indicators. And with the absence of that, there's a moment, a split second, a millisecond, where my brain's like, wait, what direction are we going in? So when it's over here, it'll be in my line of sight, and it will eliminate that. So I'm super excited about that. And they started rolling that out on the 12th, so I'm not sure when I'll get it, but I can't wait. I'm a little chilly. Let's bump it up in here a little bit. We are 9 minutes away from our supercharger. I will pause the video at the supercharger. I'll save that cool experience for another time, because I've got I need to take a look at the camera equipment and reset some things, so I'm not going to make you sit through that. But maybe the next time we stop on this trip, I'll show what it looks like, because on that one I am going to give it a good charge, so I might be there for like 20 minutes. Some of the cool things that you can do while supercharging, in addition to the already awesome things that you already know how to do, like look at your phone, listen to music, all of those things. The Tesla comes in with some built-in things. I was talking to my brother, so there's a racing game on here that you can play where you use the steering wheel and the brake. And I joked with him that I've spent more time driving the video game on here than I have actually driving the car. And I just found that funny. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. I'm super excited to show you the tint that we're going to put on here. I haven't decided about the rest of the windows on the car. They're already tinted. But I'm going to verify over there at Super Wraps in Frisco what percentage the side windows are tinted to. That ceramic tint does an amazing job. I had it on the F350, and it has a couple of really cool benefits. One being privacy. So if you're into privacy, that's me. That's the first benefit. People can't see you, I love that. And then the second benefit, and if you live in the South or any place hot, these cars get hot in the summertime. Hot! And that ceramic tint will block UV and infrared, so it keeps the cabin much, much cooler. when I was coming into the Houston area from Dallas yesterday, I stopped here at the Woodies, and the Tesla did not do a good job of navigating into the supercharging area. It wanted to turn down a road that would have put me back in the wrong direction on the highway with no way to get over. So I had to intervene there. I think definitely more in the Houston area than in Dallas, but a lot of the interventions seem to come from outdated map information. My brother's neighborhood, as an example, is 2 years old, so it is new, but 2 years should be plenty of time. So I'm curious about the map technology in the Tesla. That's a conversation we'll have with Grok. I want to know more about what technology is used there. I think it is Google Maps, but it seems to not be aware of roads that are now open that used to be closed due to construction. It's not aware of some of the things in my brother's newish neighborhood. So I'm curious about how frequently does it get map data? Like I thought it was more real time than what it seems to be, at least in the Houston area. All right, so let's see what it tries to do here, if it tries to go down the same wrong path again. Pretty quick slow down to 30 miles an hour. Tesla's gonna take it at 50. And it feels fine. It doesn't concern me that we're driving that fast. So it looks like it is going to take the right-hand turn correctly. If you look in front of us here, that the road going straight there is the road that it tried to take. So coming south on 45, it tried to go down that road instead of this road over here. And then we're going to take an immediate left here. This is correct. Got our turn indicator on. We're hanging over a bit here. I'm not happy about that. Yeah. Oh, man. Sheesh. So every once in a while, I get a little nervous. Probably just because it was a big, giant, massive truck hurtling down the highway towards us there. But I guess it made the decision that it was safe, so. And these, so you remember I was telling you they're way back here in the back. So you've got to go all the way back here behind the truck parking. And then you've got to walk all the way around the front of the building to get in. So I wonder if they're going to do, like in the future, you'll have these supercharger destinations. Like they don't even have trash cans out here for these. You know, you'd think they'd have trash cans, maybe window washers. Okay, it's just going to hang out here. So we'll take it and just give it a little park. After we put it in drive, of course. We are in drive, great. Okay, so we'll just whip around here and park next to this other Model X, because that's fun. It can see them, so I will grab that spot right there and we'll just let the Tesla do it. Why not? Why wouldn't we? This is a full self-driving video after all. All right, so supercharging destination number 1. We're gonna go ahead and get plugged in here, get some juice, and then we'll head back out on the highway. I'll be back with you all in just a minute. All right, so we have finished our charging and we are getting ready to get back out on the road here. Let me see if I can see a summary of that. We're learning together here for the first time because I've never actually looked at that. Let's see here. I don't know how to see it. I'm sure there's a way. Oh, I found it. Yeah. Okay. So here in the app under charging, there's a last charge. And you can see that it delivered 63.93 kilowatt hours. We charged for 25 minutes. It cost me $20.46, and it's giving me 247 miles of range. I did not fully charge it. I just charged enough to get to our next supercharger over in Denton, Texas. The original route had me going up through Plano, and I don't want to go that way. I don't think it's faster, so I rerouted it over to Denton. And I've noticed that a couple of times. When you plan a long route, make sure that it's not taking you a weird way or out of your way to get to a supercharger. There could potentially be a better route or something that's more in alignment with your route. In fact, I've heard that that is a thing that's coming in the spring update, which is an alternate route option. Well, that's funny. It just threw me in entry mode. I guess it got tired of sitting. Anyway, that's the Tesla telling me to shut up and get on the road. So let's do that. I'm just going to drive. One of the things that I don't usually like to do is let it try to figure out how to get out of a parking spot or a parking lot. Depends on where I'm at. This one's a little different. And I think it might get confused trying to get out of here. So we'll get it pointed in the right direction, and then we will engage full self-driving. There's a camper. Sometimes I miss it. Not enough to do anything about it, but sometimes I miss it. I guess we could use it if we wanted to go out to Disney World. We could stay in our camper out in Disney World. All right, so I think we're in a good spot here to go ahead and kick off our FSD. Let's do it. We are in hurry mode. Come to a complete stop here. I would imagine that it might edge out a little bit just to get a better view of what's going on in the traffic. And we are clear, we can go. So we do, and we immediately whip around here onto this road. So here we are, back out on the road again, heading up to Denton, Texas to top off our energy so that I can pick up the beautiful wife and head over to her brother's house for dinner tonight, which will be a good time. Tesla's telling me that attention monitoring is active, so I guess it's decided that it can in fact see my eyeballs. Nice. I love the acceleration when it's getting into the fast lane. It handles it very nicely. All right, so we've got a posted speed limit of 75. We're currently cruising at 79 miles per hour, 78, 77. It's going to go with the flow of traffic. A thing that I noticed on my trip down from Dallas yesterday that I haven't noticed before, I'm gonna have to go back and look at other videos to see if it's doing it, but there seems to be more of a vibration in the yoke here. I don't know, maybe it's something that did occur before, but I feel like I would have noticed that. I'll check the videos and see if it's present in them. Maybe it is. It does not affect the drive in any way. Everything's fine. It drives straight, it handles fine, it doesn't pull. So if anything, maybe a minor alignment or balancing issue, but I have no problem going back to service. We will get it taken care of. I love the, it gives you a little weather forecast here. It says strong winds forecasted from the south. That's, I think I'm feeling some of that. You can kind of feel you can feel it when it whips the car a little bit. I forgot to change the suspension mode. Oh well. It's okay. Absolutely beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. It's 88 degrees. Perfectly comfortable ride up to Dallas today. Once we get into Dallas, there should be some pretty good footage of kind of that experience. The interchanges coming in Dallas, the traffic. It will be Sunday afternoon, but that doesn't seem to matter to the city of Dallas. There's traffic every day, every time of day, so we will see some traffic. We are 2 hours and 20 minutes away from our supercharger in Denton, Texas. And that's probably where I will end the video today. But we should have some fun between then and now. Big coach coming up here on the right. If I ever did get back into camping, that's probably the route that I would take. The motorhome approach. We'd have to get some sort of car trailer to pull Tess along with us. Got brake lights up ahead. Somewhat of an abrupt slowdown there. So this coach right here on the right is a Class C Super Coach. And that particular model, it's kind of hard to tell. This one's easily north of probably $500,000. So you've really got to be into camping to drop that kind of money on it, I think. We're getting passed by a minivan. I'm doing 80 and kind of a pointless takeover attempt there because there's nowhere for you to go, ma'am. And she's older too. I hope she's not one of my subscribers. I'm not talking negatively. I like it. She's a zippy granny in her minivan. Yeah, you can really feel the crosswinds. She's going to attempt the takeover again on the right. She's overtaking Tesla Truths. Is she going to make it in time? And she completes the takeover. Lane change back in front of Tesla Truth. She takes the lead. Oh no, we've got another one, but is he going to get boxed in? Can Tesla Truths? No, he takes the lead. Knocks Tesla Truths back into third place. You know, you got to have a little fun. It's a long drive. She's got to be doing close to 100. I wonder if it's ever run through her mind, like, what might happen to my minivan if my front driver tire blows out at 100 miles an hour? I don't know. I don't think it would be pretty. This crowd is in a hurry today. So we're tapping out at 84 right now. And I've got the Mercedes knocking on my back door here. It is a lot closer than what it appears in the camera. Like, it looks to be about maybe 2 car lengths, maybe. So when we're maxed out at 85 and traffic's just wanting to fly around me. There he goes. Quite the hurry. Some pretty good damage on the driver's side door there. I can't imagine why. And we've got brake lights ahead. It's crazy. So 80, 85 in this lane, 40 in that lane. And Tess here just takes all of that off my plate. I don't have to think about it anymore. It's really quite nice. So this is a situation here, if I were driving, I would choose to go ahead and get over. I think we've got enough time to coast in the right lane for a while, and traffic behind me clearly wants to drive faster than I do. So I might just throw the turn signal on here and tell Tess to move out of the way. And we'll give Mario Andretti back there the room he needs to do what he wants to do. So again, I'm at 82 and they just passed me like I'm standing still. Can really feel the wind whipping. I noticed this in the Model Y also. So, like I said, I'm coming out of an F350, so I don't have something to compare it to. I wonder how the S is in these windy kind of conditions. I was wondering how it would do that, so I turned on the right turn signal to tell the car to move over. But I didn't want that to be a permanent decision. I still want it to be here. I just wanted it to temporarily move out of the way, and it did what I hoped, which is it does navigate back into the fast lane to move around the slower moving traffic here. So that's fantastic. A really big fan of the way it kind of makes the decisions it makes, particularly on the highway. It's very smooth sailing. If for no other reason, you would really enjoy full self-driving on the highway. I think it does an excellent job on city streets too, but the highway, there's just less decisions to be made, less variables. It's a lot easier, I think, for the computer to think through what it has to think through. I see some mic feedback on the camera. I wonder what the road noise and background noise sounds like on the audio. We'll have to find out. If it's a problem, if it's too distracting, I'll see if I can find a better microphone solution. This one should be good though. This is the Ceramonic. Here, let me see if I can show you. Ceramonic mic. So it's supposed to be really good. And the camera does have the external mic indicator on it, so everything should be feeding through the Ceramonic. Maybe there's some settings I can change on it. I'll look at it another time. Set the temperature to 70 degrees. Camper on the side of the road there, likely a blowout. Very common thing when towing campers. We had one blow out on us on the way to Dallas from Houston. We used to live in Houston. And when it blew out, the steel belts and the tire came unraveled and wrapped around the electrical wiring running along the side of the camper and yanked the breaker box that's in the kitchen through the kitchen. And we had to have everything rewired. Turned out to be an insurance claim from it's like $6,000 because of a tire blowout. And I'm not an engineer, but if I were, I'd like to think that I would design things in such a way that a tire blowout would not create such a catastrophic outcome. It's like that's a component that you don't want to fail, but they do. And so when that occurs, that it should be limited to that point of failure. Why would you design it in such a way that it can cause that kind of damage? Surprised that we haven't tried to go around this car yet. So cruising along 6970 and a 75, which is too slow. All right, picking it up a bit there. Car behind me is quite upset about the speed limit that the vehicles in front of me are choosing to drive at. I think it's time for a conversation with Grok. Try to kind of, I probably shouldn't do this. Tess does not like it when I pick up my phone. Hey, Grok. Hey, Grok. Didn't engage. Hey, Grok. Maybe the cameras are interfering. Hey, Grok. 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 So I've been thinking about getting Starlink Mini. Okay. Golly.
Starlink Mini sounds like a solid option if you're after portable, high-speed internet. It's compact, about the size of a laptop, and designed for easy setup. Plug it in, point it at the sky, and you're online in minutes. Ideal for travel, remote work, or off-grid adventures. Just keep in mind it needs a clear view of the sky, so obstructions like trees or buildings can mess with the signal. You also have flexible plans, like $50 a month for 50 gigs or $165 for unlimited data, with no long-term contracts. What's your use case? Camping, van life, or something else? That'll help me narrow down if it's the right fit.
Yeah, sure. So the reason that I'm thinking about it was a second ago when I opened up Grok, I said, "Hi, Grok," and you didn't respond. So it makes me feel like we don't have a good connection. Is that what's going on?
Haha, I hear you. Sounds like you're craving a connection that's as reliable as a friendly hi, getting a quick response. Starlink Mini could definitely help with that. It's built to deliver solid internet even in remote spots, which might be why you're feeling those connection blues. Since you mentioned opening Grok and not getting a response, it could be spotty Wi-Fi or mobile data acting up. The Mini's got low latency and speeds up to 100 Mbps, so it'd likely keep our chats flowing smoothly. Are you mostly at home wanting better internet, or are you out and about where the signal's dropping?
Yeah, I would put it in Test, which is my Tesla Model X.
Nice. Test sounds like a sweet ride. Popping a Starlink Mini in your Tesla Model X could be a game changer for staying connected on the go. You could mount it inside, maybe on the glass roof or Falcon Wing door windows, since the glass doesn't seem to block the signal much. People have had luck using suction cup mounts or even bungee cords for a secure fit. For power, the Mini needs about 30-60 watts, so you'd want a 12-volt adapter for the car's socket, as the USB ports won't cut it. Have you thought about where you'd want to place it in tests, or what kind of trips you'd use it for? Road trips, camping, or maybe client-site visits like you mentioned before?
Yeah, I think I'll just put it in the back glass. Okay, so I was riding in Test yesterday with my brother, and he'd asked an interesting question about Tesla. I was wondering if you could help me answer it.
Oh, cool. Love a good Tesla convo. So you're thinking of sticking the Starlink Mini on the back glass of Test? That could work great with a clear sky view. Anyway, what was that interesting question your brother tossed out about Tesla while you guys were cruising? I'm all ears for the details.
He was curious about what might happen in a catastrophic system failure, right? So the Tesla computer system just completely shuts down. There's some sort of massive failure. It cannot issue commands. And so let's say you're in full self-driving. What would happen in that scenario?
That's a juicy question your brother brought up. If your Tesla Model X, had a catastrophic system failure while in full self-driving mode, where the computer completely shuts down and can't issue commands, here's the deal. Tesla's system has multiple redundancies, so a total failure is unlikely, but not impossible. If it did happen, the car would rely on its fail-safe mechanisms. It'd likely attempt to slow down and pull over safely, as the system is designed to prioritize avoiding collisions. You'd hear a loud alert to take over the wheel immediately. Without driver input, though, it coasts to a stop, ideally off to the side, since the steering and brakes have backup power. But if the failure is bad enough, like a complete power loss, you might lose assisted steering and braking, making it trickier. Realistically, you need to grab the wheel and muscle it to safety. Has your brother been digging into Tesla's tech?
Oh,
or
yeah.
was this just a random thought?
No, it's funny because I guess most of the people in my family haven't been big Tesla fans. But now, because I talk about it so much, they're starting to come along. In fact, he's really considering getting the Cybertruck, which I think would be super cool.
Haha, sounds like you're the Tesla evangelist in the family, slowly converting them one by one. It's awesome that your brother's warming up to the idea, even eyeing a Cybertruck. That's a bold choice. Since he's curious about things like system failures, he might like digging into the Cybertruck's steer-by-wire tech, or its crazy durable exoskeleton. So, with him thinking Cybertruck, does he have a specific use case in mind? Like off-roading or just wanting to roll in something totally unique? And are you guys planning to test drive one together to seal the deal?
Nah, not right now. But I have a different question for you. So, when I started Grok earlier, I said, "Hey Grok," and I got no response. Do you respond to "Hey Grok," or can I give you a different name?
Good catch. So when you said, "Hey Grok," it sounds like I didn't pick up the cue. Maybe the connection hiccup we talked about earlier. I don't respond to voice triggers like "Hey Grok" directly. I'm more of a text-based conversationalist for now, but I hear you loud and clear when you type. You can absolutely call me something else if you want. I'm using a female voice, so you could pick a name that vibes with that or stick with Grok for simplicity. Any name you're thinking of tossing my way, or should I suggest a couple for fun?
No, I've got one in mind.
Nice. I love that you've got something picked out already. So what name are you thinking of calling me? Lay it on me.
Yeah, how do you feel about Lucy?
Lucy, huh? I'm totally digging it. It's got a bright, friendly vibe, and I can roll with that. So from now on, I'm Lucy when we chat. Love the choice. Anything else on your mind? Like more Tesla adventures with Tess
man.
or something totally different?
Oh, no, I think I'm good for now, Lucy.
All right, cool beans. I'm Lacey, ready whenever you are. Catch you next time for more Test Tales or whatever else you're pondering.
All right. Oh, we'll test that out here in a little bit. Yeah, the wind is really whipping right now. Brake lights. Traffic's sitting still, I think. Let's see here. Oh, nice. Nice job. See, there for a minute, like, you're like, I don't know. Like, it's going to stop. It's going to stop. Adaptive cruise control and some of the other cars don't make me feel comfortable at all. Like, in fact, I usually just take it because it just gets right up on it. But the Tesla did a pretty good job there of slowing down the way that it needed to. I wonder what the traffic situation is here. It looks like just a short little orange stint, so I wonder what's going on. Looks like another blowout is what's going on there, and some other campers pulled over to help, I suppose. Or maybe they're in a party. I don't know. But yeah, that's very, very common. After the toy hauler blowout, I replaced all the tires on both campers with H-rated or J-rated. I don't remember now. They're good. Very good tires. I wouldn't expect them to, but they're kind of like what you see on 18-wheelers, very smooth tread, but 120 PSI, I think they held in them. Cybertruck. Got a black wrap on it. That looks pretty nice. Phantom windshield, washer wipers. I wonder what causes that. Little lane change there. Oh, that was another mistake that I saw the Tesla make. coming down 105 in Conroe yesterday, and I'd never seen it do this before. It executed a lane change without turning on the turn signal. It does some weird things down around Houston. I don't know. State trooper running radar, and unfortunately we're not speeding right now. I say unfortunately because I really want to, we run around, 10, 15 miles an hour faster than the speed limit, which is significantly faster than what I drive. I'm just curious to see what that conversation looks like if I get pulled over, doing 85 and a 75. I think another experiment I'm going to run, I don't have my plates in yet, and there's no front license plate mount on this car. In the state of Texas, it's required. And so I'm curious how long I can drive around without a front license plate before I get pulled over. Despite what it sounds like, I'm not a troublemaker. I just don't particularly want to drill holes in the front of my car, so we'll see. We are an hour and 35 minutes from Denton. So So probably 45 minutes or so from the Dallas city skyline. Oh, is that the trooper? No, I don't think so. Maybe just a vehicle with the rack. I don't know. It could be. Nah. No, it's not. Oh well. It's a Jeep. There's one. State trooper up ahead got somebody. I wonder if it's a minivan. It's not. Safely accelerate around the slower moving Cadillac. Flashback decided that he wanted to drive fast after all. All right. Love the diamond plated license plate frame. The Insta360 Ace Pro 2 is holding up like a champ. The battery is in it. We are plugged into external power. It is hot to the touch. So I wonder if it makes it this additional hour and a half we have remaining on our journey here today. We will find out. One thing that I will say about the GoPro Hero Black 13 is it seemed to manage audio better. So I used the same Ceramonic external mic on that camera, and the audio just seemed better to me than it does on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, even with the same external mic. But that's it. That and marketing. GoPro takes the cake. The Insta360 Ace Pro 2 is more expensive than the GoPro Hero Black by at least $120. I can't remember exactly. All right, it's time for another conversation with Grok, aka Lucy. Hey, Lucy. Are you there? I think so this is the second time that it's kind of happened. I think that we have some kind of a problem maybe when the camera is activated. Let's kill that and try again.
Sounds like you're dealing with a camera issue that's popped up a couple of times now. Can you give me a bit more detail about what happens when the camera's activated? Like, is there an error message, a freeze, or something else? That'll help me figure out what might be going on.
Well, thanks.
Just a heads up.
Okay, go ahead.
No worries at all. So, about that camera issue, can you describe what's happening when it acts up? Any specific errors or behaviors you're noticing?
Well, thanks for chiming in. I was referring to the camera view in the Tesla. When I pull it up, it shows the rear view camera and the two side cameras. It seems that when I have that up, I can't interact with you. So there's some voice thing going on there.
Got it. So you're talking about the Tesla's camera view, specifically the rear and side cameras. And it seems like pulling that up is messing with your ability to use voice commands. That's definitely frustrating. When you say you can't interact, do you mean the voice system doesn't respond at all, or is it delayed or giving errors?
Well,
also, does this happen every time you bring up the camera view, or just sometimes?
Yeah, I just kind of noticed it, and it's a short experiment. We don't need to dive into that right now. I'll solve it another time. What I wanted to talk to you about was the external cameras on the Tesla. So I was riding in Tess yesterday with my dad, and he asked the question, what kind of field of view do the cameras have? What's their range? How far around it and in front of it and behind it can it see?
Fair enough. Let's switch gears to the Tesla's external cameras and their field of view. Your dad's got a great question. The Tesla camera system is designed to give a 360-degree view around the vehicle, but the exact field of view and range depend on the specific cameras and hardware version. HW3 or HW4, for example. Front cameras. There are typically 2 or 3 forward-facing cameras. 2 for HW4, 3 for HW3.
Hey, Lucy.
Mounted behind...
Let's go ahead and dial that in. I know, so we have hardware 4, and we are in a 2023 Tesla Model X.
All right, thanks for the specifics. It's a 2023 Tesla Model X with hardware 4. Just to clarify, I'm Era, not Lucy, but no sweat. So, focusing on the external cameras for your Model X with HW4, here's the breakdown on their field of view and range. This system has 8 high-resolution cameras for a 360-degree view. The front-facing cameras, now 2 instead of 3, are mounted behind the windshield. The wide-angle one covers about a 150-degree field of view, with a range up to roughly 250 meters for clear conditions, though it's less in fog or rain. Side repeater cameras on the fenders handle about 100 degrees each, catching lanes and nearby vehicles, with a range around 80 meters. Rear cameras cover a 120-degree field, seeing up to 100 meters or so. The pillar cameras fill in gaps, each with a 90-degree view and a range of about 60 meters. These ranges are ballpark, since weather, lighting, and obstacles can affect performance. Curious if your dad was asking for a specific reason, like navigating tight spots or something else?
Yeah, I think he was just generally curious. Is the Tesla constantly using all cameras on the car the entire time it's driving?
That's a great follow-up question, and it sounds like your dad's just digging into how the Tesla ticks. Love the curiosity. For your 2023 Model X with hardware 4, the short answer is yes. The Tesla's 8 external cameras are constantly active while driving to provide real-time data for the full self-driving FSD system, autopilot, and safety features. They work together to create a continuous 360-degree view, processing everything from lane lines to pedestrians to traffic signals. Even if you're not using a feature like autopilot, the cameras are feeding data to the car's neural network to monitor surroundings and ensure things like automatic emergency braking or blind spot warnings are ready to kick in. The only time they're not fully active is when the car's parked or powered off, though Sentry mode can wake some of them up for security. Anything specific you or your dad are wondering about how the cameras are used?
Yeah, so I ran into a situation. We were in FSD going down 105 in Conroe yesterday, and for the first time, I saw the Tesla, it changed lanes without turning on the turn signal. So I've never seen that. That was clearly a mistake, but I'm assuming that even though that occurred, that it did not display the video, did not indicate that it was turning, that it was still very well aware that it was a safe maneuver.
Whoa, that's definitely an interesting moment you caught there on Highway 105 in Conroe with your Model X in full self-driving mode. It's unusual for the Tesla to change lanes without signaling, as the system is designed to indicate turns for safety and clarity. Since you mentioned it didn't display the signal, but the maneuver felt safe, it's likely the cameras and sensors were still fully engaged. Scanning the surroundings to confirm the lane change was clear. The 8-camera array on your Hardware 4 Model X would have been checking for vehicles, lane markings, and obstacles, feeding data to the FSD computer to make that call, even if the turn signal didn't visually show. Could be a software glitch or a rare edge case where the signal didn't register on the display. Have you noticed this happen again, or was it a one-off?
It seems
also,
like it was a one-off.
Sounds like you're reflecting on that quirky lane change moment. Anyway, it seems like it was a one-time thing with the turn signal not showing, which can be super surprising when you're cruising with FSD. Based on what you described, the cameras were still doing their job, keeping tabs on the surroundings to ensure the maneuver was safe, even if the signal skipped a beat. If it pops up again, might be worth noting the conditions, like traffic or road type, to see if there's a pattern. Got any other questions about how FSD or the cameras are handling things on your Model X?
Nope, that's it. Okay, so
Cool.
an observation about that experience. So I haven't played with Grok a ton, but I know that Era is a different thing than what we were chatting with earlier. So it's funny. Grok has personality. ChatGPT doesn't seem to have the personality, but Grok does. And she's quick to say, oh, by the way, I'm Ara, not Lucy. I think that's funny. In other news, it looks like it's routing us 287 around Dallas, which is unfortunate because we're going to miss out on that city traffic that I wanted to capture. I'm not sure why it made this decision. Maybe there's an accident or a road closure in Dallas. I've gone this route before. It's kind of boring. And actually, my wife and I were in separate cars, and hers routed her through the city. She went through the city, and going through the city was faster than this route. So I'm not terribly thrilled about this, but it will be a relaxing ride. We've got about an hour and 18 minutes left on our journey here today. Give the windows a little wash here. That's the Rain-X bug remover that I put in there, and I don't remember if it was extra, but if you're shopping for windshield wiper fluid, don't pay extra for the bug remover. It doesn't do any better removing the bugs. So Tess saw me with the phone there, but that's fine. Hey, Ara, are you listening?
I'm guessing you meant fun thing to do there, but could you clarify where there is For now, I'll assume you're asking about a general fun activity.
Nope.
How about trying an escape room? It's a blast solving puzzles with friends. If you've got a specific place in mind, let me know, and I'll tailor some ideas for you.
No. No thanks. Yeah. Anyway, so it's still the Grok and ChatGPT. It's still a little quirky, but I really, really enjoy interacting with it. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty good information. I will tell you to cross-check the information. Sometimes it's outdated, which reminds me, that's a great conversation. Let's dig into that a little bit, shall we? Hey, Ara. Ara. Hello, are you with me? Ara. So I'm not sure if it's my connection.
Sounds like you might be having some connection trouble. Can you describe what's going on? Like if it's dropping or just slow?
No, we're good now, thanks. I wanted to talk to you about Tesla's technology as it pertains to the maps. Can you tell me what map technology the Tesla uses?
Tesla uses a mix of mapping tech for its navigation. Primarily, it relies on Google Maps for the visual overlay and basic mapping data in most regions, while in China, it uses Baidu Maps. For routing and navigation specifics like lane level guidance and real-time traffic, Tesla incorporates data from Mapbox's Valhalla engine. They also augment maps with their own fleet data, collecting GPS points and sensor info to improve accuracy, especially for things like parking lots or private spaces. Unlike some competitors, Tesla avoids heavy reliance on pre-computed high-definition maps, leaning more on real-time sensor inputs for autopilot and full self-driving. Want me to dive deeper into any part of that?
Well, I was wondering, how frequently is the map data updated? It sounds like it's updated pretty much real time, but recently, specifically in Conroe and Texas City, I noticed that the map data was outdated in that, as an example, on South I-45, we were taking an exit to go to the Buc-ee's, and there's a road under the overpass that's now open, but the Tesla read it as closed. And so it tried to route us around it. I had to intervene to take it on the road because the road is now open. So outdated map data seems to be occurring in that area.
That sounds frustrating, especially when you know the road's open, but the car's trying to detour you. Tesla's map data updates aren't truly real time for everything. While they pull live traffic and some dynamic data through Google Maps and their own fleet telemetry, the core map data like roads, closures, or new infrastructure typically updates every few weeks to a couple of months, depending on the region and data source. For instance, Google Maps and Mapbox data get refreshed periodically, but it's not instant. And Tesla's own processing to integrate that into their system can add lag. In places like Conroe or Texas City along South I-45, where construction or new roads like that Buc-ee's axis can change fast, the map might not catch up right away. Tesla's system also sometimes prioritizes safety by assuming a road is closed if the data is uncertain, which could explain why it routed you around. You can report these mismatches directly in the car's navigation by tapping the voice command and saying something like, report map error, or road is open, which helps Tesla's team flag it for review.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, there's no manual way to force an instant map update on your end. It's all pushed over the air when Tesla rolls out new navigation data. If this keeps happening, it might be worth double checking with a service center to ensure your car's getting the latest map files. but it sounds like a typical delay in a fast-changing area. Want me to look up anything specific about that I-45 spot or suggest ways to handle similar issues?
No, I'm good. Thanks. That's good information. Can you tell me a little bit about the hardware that's in my 2023 Tesla Model X? Like the computer. Tell me about the computer system. Oh, I think we might have lost connectivity again. All right, that's enough of that. I've noticed that across ChatGPT also. And I don't know if it's my end or their end. I'll have to run some experiments. But I do like being able to ask those questions and get real-time feedback. So that might be a fun thing to incorporate into these videos as I think about some of these questions that I have about the car and some of my experiences. And so you can learn along with me when I'm getting the information. Lesson learned, don't call Ara Lucy. She didn't like that. You know, we've got about 68 miles left on our trip here. It really is a very smooth ride. It's quite comfortable. Okay. I've had fun chatting with you all this entire trip. Just over an hour to go. I've also been trying to keep track of when they might integrate Grok into the car. I've heard rumors that in the near future, you'll be able to press the microphone button and it'll bring up that Grok interface. And what I'm hoping is that you can have conversations like we were just having, although refined a bit, and it'll also be able to interpret the things that you're saying and pass the right commands to the car. Sometimes I give it a command because I haven't memorized them all. And I can't recall one now off the top of my head, but it'll come up and say command not recognized. I think Grok will be able to bridge that gap and translate it into the command that the car can understand so that whatever I'm attempting to do, it'll do. Okay, so it looks like we're going to hop on 35 here, run us up into Denton this way. So we might see a little bit of the city. So Grok said that the cameras can see 250 meters. What is that, 600, 700 feet? That's a pretty good distance in clear conditions. I wonder if I can configure Grok to be less empathetic. I don't know that I need reassurance when I'm talking to it. Pretty quick lane dump here, but we don't have any traffic, so it's not a problem. Oh, nice. I appreciate the acceleration there in the slower moving lane to get around the vehicle that was in the center lane rather than slowing down to get behind them and then over into the fast lane. Situational awareness is usually shockingly good. Just under an hour remaining on our trip here today. Brake lights, 18-wheeler coming over, Tesla slows down, saw it coming. He appreciates us. You're quite welcome. He's in a hurry. Picked up a tail. But there's not much I can do about it. I mean, we've got traffic in the right, so I can't get over. Quite a bit of traffic in front of us, so I can't go faster. So, and yeah, you can see that it's kind of, you know, thick up there. So there's not much you can do. So just enjoy the ride, my friend. He's going to pass on the right here, but he doesn't have room. He's going to get blocked by the Kia. Forces him to slow down. Let's see if he comes back over here. Yep, right back over. So there's just you're not going to accomplish a lot. Sometimes you just have to accept that the road is busy and you can't go as fast as you want to. I have the perfect solution for you. You should get a Tesla and just relax and enjoy your journey. All right, so we open up here a little bit. Lake Fork. This is why the Tesla drives, folks. I can't see. Lake Fork Baptist Church bus has moved out of the way, and so now we can pick up the speed here a little bit. Let's see where we go with it. Posted speed limit is 70 miles per hour. We're getting back into our comfort zone here, 80 to 85. Let's go. White Tesla Model Y on our right here. That was the one that I originally had my eyes on, the white Tesla Model Y with the white interior performance. And then I drove the X and couldn't be convinced otherwise. I did test drive the new Model Y, and if I couldn't be in an S, X, or Cybertruck, it would definitely be that car. It was insanely fast, well built. Love the way the front seats automatically go forward when you're powering the rear seats down or up. Just really smart. Great utility and function. Little deceleration as the Audi splits the lanes here. Traffic slowing in the middle lane all the way down to 55 for nice lane change. We're going to go again. No traffic on the left. Quickly accelerating. Again, no traffic on the left. So away we go. We've got the Dallas Skyline coming into view here. Looks like we'll have about 12% left when we get to the supercharger. When we started out, I think it said we will have 15%, so a little bit of loss there. I always try to plan it so that we have at least 10% getting into a charger. I like to leave room for error or consumption. I love the way the Tesla handles the turns. We have a sexy red Tesla Model Y. She's driving. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like they're building a building over this overpass. And there's Dallas. And there's brake lights. Well, that didn't take long, ladies and gentlemen. We have our orange on the map, so we will get some nice traffic here on the way into town. Par for the course. Just goes to show you, no matter what angle you approach Dallas at, you're going to see some traffic. Doesn't look too bad though. So it looks like these 2 lanes are exit only, and I don't think we want to go that way. So we'll see how long the Tesla cruises in these lanes over here. Went to execute the lane change, and we had a car coming up on the right, so Tesla waits and then executes. Need to get over 1 more, and we do it with no problem. So this little interchange right here, every time I come back home from Houston, I always forget about it when I'm driving. And it's this mad dash right here at the last second to make sure you stay on 35 and don't bolt off to the left there. It's little things like that that I really enjoy not having to think about anymore. All right, assertively getting over to insert ourselves in the faster moving traffic. 28 minutes left on our drive today. And I'll try to give a summary of kind of what the supercharging costs were for this trip. From Aubrey to Conroe to Texas City to Conroe to Willis to Aubrey. The last charge I do up here, I could argue wouldn't technically count for the trip because I've got some running around to do tonight. I want more of a charge. Otherwise, I would just plug it in when I got home and wouldn't need to charge up. So I won't count the last charge, the next one coming up here. I'm sure it's debatable, but that's what I've settled on. I think it's actually still going to be pretty pricey though. When I think about it, 20, 40, 50, 70, probably about $100. We'll find out for sure. Definitely cheaper than the F350, more expensive than the Audi Q5 hybrid. We'll see. I probably did a couple of little charges in there that I didn't need to. On our way down to Texas City, I gave it some juice. On the way back, I gave it some juice. So I don't know. I don't have enough experience with it right now to draw any kind of conclusions. Oh no, you should have taken the Express. Oh wait, that's not the Express. It's a good thing I'm not driving. But the truth is I didn't buy this car to save money on gas. So if it turned out to be true, that was a pretty abrupt break there. If it turned out to be true that this is more expensive than say the Audi Q5, it wouldn't bother me at all. Like, that's not the determining factor for me. There is a gloss black Cybertruck, which I think is gorgeous. Call me crazy. If I were to have a Cybertruck, that's probably exactly what I would do to it. I would also have custom wheels and slightly lower profile tires. I think it looks super cool wrapped that way. I agree that when it looks like a refrigerator, it's not that cool, but gloss black has a nice, mean look to it. I think it looks really cool. And it's not even gloss black. It's like a bronze, like a very dark chocolate. Gloss, though. Let's see if we can get it into frame here. Right there, I don't know how well you can see it. I think it looks pretty sharp. Literally. Sorry, dad jokes aside. Express lanes entrance closed in a half a mile, so it's not an option today anyway. bumpy road. Currently on I-35 East North in Carrollton, Texas. I love how it tells you where you are. That was a question that I always had. I would be in some random place along my route, no idea what town I'm in. So it's great that I get that feedback now. I don't remember Apple Maps doing that. I thought that I would miss Apple Maps, and I don't. This interface, you don't need it. And I have access to all of the same things. My messages, my phone, my media, XM, YouTube Music, Pandora, all of it. All right, 20 minutes from our destination. So right there where you have kind of the express lane exit merging into the fast lane here on the highway, and it's pretty immediate. I've been curious about what the Tesla would do if there were a car there at the same time. That has not happened yet. It's always been empty, so I've never met in that moment, but I imagine that it frequently does. So I would be interested in seeing how it identifies and negotiates that situation. Phantom windshield wipers. Oh man, does not like it when I touch my phone. I heard Elon Musk in a meeting once, they were talking about that. And it's funny that, and again, I don't condone it, but if you needed to use your phone because you needed it for whatever reason, and we've all done it, if you needed to use your phone while driving in full self-driving, you would have to disengage it in order to use your phone. Now you're driving with your knees and you're distracted. It is significantly less dangerous to just let me look at my phone. Now that's different than, playing Call of Duty on your phone going down the road. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you needed to quickly check something, reference something, it should give me, I'd say, 30 seconds. That's probably easily debatable. I get it, but 10, 15 seconds if I need to glance at the center screen or my phone. Chill with the nag Tesla. Hey Siri, open ChatGPT voice. That's one workaround. Hello, ChatGPT.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Can you tell me why sometimes randomly my Tesla will engage the windshield wipers when not needed?
Yeah, that can be a bit annoying. Tesla's wipers are set to auto mode, which uses the car's cameras and sensors to detect rain. Sometimes it misinterprets moisture or light reflections on the windshield as rain. You can manually adjust the sensitivity or switch them to manual mode if it happens too often.
You're talking too fast again. Can you slow that down a bit?
Sure thing. Is this pace better for you?
Yeah, let's keep that. Thanks.
Got it. No problem.
And since I have you, what can you tell me about the onboard computer systems of the 2023 Tesla Model X?
The 2023 Tesla Model X has a sophisticated onboard computer system. It features Tesla's custom full self-driving FSD computer, also known as Hardware 3. It handles autopilot and FSD features, with robust processing power to handle AI tasks. The main infotainment system runs on a powerful AMD Ryzen processor, giving you a smooth experience for navigation, media, and games.
So a bit updated information
So it gets
for
better
you.
over
The 2023 Tesla Model X, at least this version, has hardware 4. So let's reference that.
Ah, got it. So with hardware 4, the onboard computer is even more advanced. It offers improved processing power and enhanced neural networks for full self-driving. This means better performance in detecting and reacting to surroundings, plus additional cameras for a broader field of view. This should enhance the autopilot and FSD capabilities significantly.
What can you tell me about the built-in AI? Is the Tesla capable of learning in real time, or does it have to wait for major updates?
Tesla's AI does learn and improve over time, but it's not entirely real-time learning. The car collects data as you drive, which is then sent back to Tesla to improve the neural networks. Major improvements are delivered through over-the-air updates. However, the car can adapt to some driving patterns and environmental conditions in a more immediate sense, like how it handles certain roads or traffic conditions.
Got it. Thank you. So, I really want Grok to work better. Because I'm in a Tesla and it's kind of an XAI thing. But at least on today's drive, my experience has been better with ChatGPT. I programmed a shortcut on the iPhone to launch it like you just saw me do, because trying to launch it in here is a problem. Because Tess gets mad at me. Oh, there it goes again. Phantom. I wonder if it's... I just want to... something has to cause it. I don't think it's picking up moisture. It's dry bones out there. So some decision is happening for some reason. I'm thinking about blacking out the chrome Tesla emblem on the front of the car. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do that or not. Thumbs up in the comment, or thumbs up, like this video if you want to see the blacked out Tesla emblem. Here we have a Tesla Model 3. I like them all. I found the Tesla Model 3 to be a little small for me. The Y was really cool. The S is super sexy, it's sleek, it's got a nice interior. I love the driver display. And the X combined the Y and the S, and it was just the right solution for me at the time. Making our way over because our exit is up here in 0.7 miles. Now that if you're new to FSD, you might be thinking it sure takes a long time to start moving over for its exit. And that's true. It takes much more advantage of the fast lane for a longer period of time than I do as a driver. Because as a driver, I don't like fighting for position when my exit's coming up. But the Tesla has not failed me yet in that regard. A lot of lane changing going on here. And it looks like a bit of traffic, but that's okay. Buc-ee's is our destination. Most of them now have Tesla Superchargers. Although I pulled into one just north of Texas City last night, and they were all closed. They had caution tape around. I don't know if it's because it's newly constructed or what, but we were not able to charge at the Buc-ee's there. We'll take it from here because I can see them over there. Good grief. Let's have a parade. No worries, just a parade. I'm never getting through here. All right. Let's see what we've got here. All right, we have reached our destination. We are going to juice up, and I'll be right back with the summary of how much this trip cost. Okay, so we have completed our charging here. We're getting ready to finish the final leg, which is just a few miles from here to the house. But I wanted to give a recap on the route, mileage, and total cost for this trip. So we started in Aubrey, Texas. We went down to Montgomery in Conroe. From there, we went to Texas City, back up to Conroe, over to Willis, and then finally back home to Aubrey. The total miles for this trip was 635 miles, and our supercharging costs are as follows. So our first stop was in Centerville, Texas. There, they charged us 32 cents per kilowatt hour for 63.68 kilowatt hours for a total charge of $20.37. We charged there for 28 minutes. Our next stop was in downtown Houston on our way to Texas City. The charge there was 26 cents per kilowatt hour for 31.26 kilowatt hours for $8.12. Session time was 9 minutes. Our next stop was in Spring, Texas on the way back from Texas City. This was 21 cents per kilowatt hour for 51.64 kilowatt hours for a total cost of $10.84, and we were there for 18 minutes. Our final stop on the trip was in Centerville, Texas on the way back up to Aubrey. The charge there was 32 cents per kilowatt hour for 63.93 kilowatt hours, a total cost of $20.46, and our session time there was 25 minutes. The grand total and the final numbers are, for 635 miles, I paid $59.79 in supercharging fees, which I think is pretty awesome. I would definitely compare it to the Audi Q5. It's given it a run for its money. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed our journey today across the great state of Texas. It was a fantastic ride. I enjoyed spending my time with all of you. Please do feel free to leave your comments, questions, suggestions, recommendations in the comments. I'm always looking for feedback on how I can make this experience more engaging and more fun for you. I will catch you in the next one.